Peace. I'm Gandhi Zoe from Principles Over Profits podcast. And this segment I call a teachable moment. It is inspired by an interview that I've seen recently on the Breakfast Club with Killer Mike, right? Rapper Killer Mike. Salute to him. Now, we might not, he and myself, share the same worldview or the same political position. It doesn't negate, the fact that there were a lot of insights in the interview. One thing that I garnered right from listening to the interview is the importance of, taking responsibility and accountability for self on an individual and I guess on a community level, right? As opposed to, mere identity politics, right? Politics of race, et cetera, politics of gender. So based on that interview, I wanted to convey this message to you, so-called Black folks. And I'm not talking down on you. I'm just trying to share perspectives with you and hope to inspire you and motivate you to move into another phase and another dimension of your life, right? Here's what I gained, right, from, again, insights that I gained from hearing them talk about, self-responsibility or individual responsibility, or even, again, communal accountability, right, community accountability. There's a distinction that y'all need to make between freedom and oppression. Why do I say this? Because often in popular culture in the 21st century, you often hear people who identify as Black take on this victim mindset, right? And they have this victimization, this discourse of victimization. And, whereas the reality is in the 21st century, in 2024, generally, right, unless one has been convicted of a crime and is imprisoned, most people in the Western world have what we understand to be freedom. Oppression, right, by definition, is the opposite of freedom, right? Oppression is state or condition or being subjected to a state or condition against one's will, right, of trials and suffering, right, and prohibition. In the 21st century, again, most people have what we call freedom. Freedom is the total opposite of that. Freedom is the condition or the capacity that one has, to move about in the world and to have self-determination and agency, right? So you can't be in the 21st century and be free and at the same time claim to be oppressed. It's an oxymoron. So I say this again to encourage y'all to stop taking on this, victim mindset. I know a lot of the so-called leaders and a lot of these false teachers, this is the message and the information that they've been conveying to y'all. But I'm here to, tell y'all that, no, that is not the case. And we could even go back, right? The people, the Africans who were taken, right, from the continent and brought over to the Americas, let me argue that they were not slaves. Right? They were enslaved people, right? There's a difference, right? There's a nuance here. When they took them from the African continent, these people, necessarily had a self-understanding, right? That did not allow them to see themselves as slaves. Why do I say this? Because slavery, first, it's a mentality, right? It's not, yes, there was, and there still is actually across the world, systems of slavery. But in general, the kind of slavery that we're talking about, right, that happened during the transatlantic, slave trade, first, It's a mentality, right? It's a way of thinking. And these people, I'm arguing, they weren't slaves in their minds. They were free men and women, right? As they were so much, right, so that they were not slaves, that when they were taken to the New World, the so-called New World, right, they had to whoop them and put them under, atrocious situations or conditions, right? So that they can take on the mentality of slaves. And yet they did not. And the proof is so much that they did not have this mentality, right? That, let me argue that this is what enabled them, right? Not only to withstand the great trials that they went through, but also to overcome it up to the point where they gained freedom and rights, civil rights. You get what I'm saying? So they were free. They had a free conceptualization of themselves, right? And as such, they saw the immorality, right, of slavery, and they did not accept it. Moving forward now, in general, in popular culture, what most are being fed is this slave mentality, this mentality of being a victim in the 21st century. I say no. I say, look, we're not living in a perfect world. There are yet challenges, right? Challenges of racism, but not systemic. And you're also not oppressed. You simply ought to change your mentality, and help is available to you. If you need, there are plenty of educators, there are plenty of resources out there that can help you if you realize and believe, right, that you've been affected, right, by this victimization and disease of, mental slavery. You can be healed. That's what I'm here to tell you today. You simply need to, one, realize that, hey, the reality is I'm not a slave. I am a human being and I am free. I have the capacity to make of myself what it is that I choose, as long as, I work to acquire the necessary skills, right? And we also have limitations, obviously, right? For example, not everyone is going to be a multimillionaire. Not everyone is going to be president. Not everyone is going to be a fireman. Some of us don't have these propensities. But even so, right? The one who really desires can actually make a way, right? We have plenty of examples in our time of people who had great challenges, right? Even challenges, innate challenges, and they still figured out a way to overcome them. So again, you can't both be free and oppressed, right? You have to choose which discourse and which mentality that you're going to take. I urge you to take on the mentality of freedom, the mentality of self-responsibility and accountability, as opposed to this victimization mindset and mental slavery. Gandhi, teachable moment. I'm out.